Are we live? Yes, we are live. I don't know why it doesn't work on Instagram, so it will be only on Facebook. And yes, it seems it works on Instagram. I will just check with the. Yes, we are on Instagram. Cool. So, welcome everybody to the third Confluence live talk about science fiction in partnership with Les Intergalactiques in Lyon. I'm Davide Knecht, co-founder of Hikaya, publishing house who specializes in science fiction from non-Anglo-Saxon authors. And today we will talk about Arabic science fiction. So I welcome to Fadi and Yasser. So first of all, welcome to you both. I hope you're well.
Yes, we are. We're excited about this talk.
Cool.
Welcome, Dave. I'm so excited today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being with us today. First of all, I want to remind our viewers we're not English native speakers, so just be indulgent with us, and that you can ask questions on the chat. We have a chat on Instagram because it works now, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, and someone will transfer to me all the questions you have. So thank you.
You can speak in French and we speak in Arabic.
Yes. So okay. First of all, I would like you to introduce yourself, and to do so, I ask you I will ask you a question. We like at Hikaya to be a little bit playful, so we ask a question to introduce yourself that will be a little bit weird, but it will allow you to go broader on your experience as author and as a specialized person in science fiction. If you were a machine, fantastic or real, which one would you be? So, who wants to start?
Yasser, do you want to start?
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead.
Yes. Throughout my science fiction reading journey, I was fascinated by the robot Andrew from the short story or novelist, The Bicentennial Man, by Isaac Asimov. He published, I think, 1975 or 1976. I can't remember the date. The idea is that at some point in the story, Andrew, the robot, requested to be free. Throughout the story, Andrew, demonstrates creativity, self-awareness, and some emotional depth, which are traditionally human traits. It evolves from being household robot to an entity that seeks legal recognition. Sorry, I said it, but he evolves, not it. He evolves from a household robot to an entity that seeks legal recognition as a human being. So at some point, he became conscious. This critical point, or this critical transition from being unconscious being to be conscious being, always fascinating me. This point, what's the difference between unconscious being to conscious being? Is this something always fascinating me? Even in science, I love reading about new advances in the consciousness problem, or the hard problem, they call it. So if I have a chance to be a character from science fiction, I would rather being something experiencing this transition. So the robot Andrew from The Bicentennial Man is my preferred one.
Good choice.
Very good choice. For our viewers, Yasser specializes especially in hard science fiction, right? You're mostly into writing hard science fiction. What's your what's your, major science fiction book that you wrote?
That you what again?
That you wrote.
Your major work.
Major work, yes, of course. I have until now published about five science fiction books. I think my major one is The Black Moon, or
Yeah.
in Arabic, Al-Qamar al-Aswad. And by the way, it's currently being translated into French.
Yes.
The Black
Wow.
Moon, yes.
Congrats.
I'm guilty.
He's a good translator. You're in
I
good
think
hands.
this would be a great translation, I think. The Black Moon, I'm trying to write hard science fiction as much as I can, and it's a conclusion of my thinking of this that type of literature called post-colonial literature, or the literature written by people were formerly colonized. So I think this work can represent my character, represent my way of writing science fiction from other one direction or other one way.
Cool.
But yes, I think you have more than one book, right?
Yes, I have five
You have,
published book so far.
wow,
Yes,
5,
yes,
all
but
in science fiction?
it's, again,
All 5 science fiction books?
uh, well, we can say 99% of them are science fiction.
Like 4 out of
Only
5?
just a few short stories, fantasy, and some of social, but the major is science fiction.
Yes,
Amazing.
for our viewers, just to know, you can also find Yasser's books in novels, right? In Turkish and English, right?
Amazing.
Yes, and German.
And German?
German.
Okay,
Yes.
Mabruk.
Mabruk.
Yes, on the anthology curated by Inver Ali Bey, right?
Yes.
Yes, cool. So, Fadi, what about you? Which machine would you be?
Well, of course, I will also choose an intelligent machine. I don't want to be a dumb machine, but but I will choose to be a nano robot, like the ones in Paradise Synthetique in Heaven on Earth that goes into your body and clean it from the accumulation of damage so that you keep you healthy and young forever.
Yes. So, to introduce Fadi to our viewers, Fadi is a renowned writer. He published 5 books so far. 2 are more social, and 3 are science fiction, right? And
Correct.
you're currently writing the 6th. So there is this trilogy that you can find in Arabic, of course, English, Italian, and French. In French, I have. I'm the translator, so and I know that my colleagues in Italian and English have done an excellent work as well, and it's called Heaven on Earth, in French, Paradis Synthétique. And you have a second one in the series, Amal, so Hope on Earth, and the third one.
It's gonna be, well, now the tentative name is Farah,
So
joy
Joy,
on earth.
Joy on Earth. Cool. Then you have your major work. The one that made you famous. It's Arus Amman.
Yes, the Bride of Amman.
The Bride of Amman, L'épouse d'Amman in French, which is not a science fiction book. So can you tell us a little bit more about
Yes,
Arus Amman
you,
as well?
yes, you also translated it and did
Yes.
a great job. Thank you. So it's about the obsession in marriage in Jordan, and it's about sexual freedoms and body rights and following the lives of 4 women characters and 1 gay man, and how they struggle to get married. in
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, but they can't achieve this very important social institution for different reasons, because marriage is still only a religious marriage in Jordan. So each character has a problem that they try to overcome in the book.
Yes, yes, it's a very good topic that we can see also on your on Paradis Synthétique in another way. So you use the same ideas. So body freedom of using your own body in another way. So you use science fiction to describe, I mean, social issues.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, actually, yes. When I started, when I started writing Heaven on Earth, I wanted to imagine a future when science defeats aging. So, and that's based on scientific predictions. So I once read an article for an American author called Obi de Grey, where he said that soon human beings will be able to live up to 1,000 years, and he's predicting this to happen in the coming 20 years, 25 years. So that, like, because I know that the human lifespan is short and that time flies fast, so this, and I fear dying. So this idea was amazing. So I wanted to imagine what will happen socially. So I didn't want to come up with the crazy things. So it is set in the near future in 2091, and I wanted to see what the effect of this change will affect socially, people socially, and how they will react to it.
Yes, yes. So that was my second question, and you did a bridge between the two questions. What brought you to science fiction? So, from
Hmm.
social writings into science fiction, it's to use science fiction to describe society. So you tackle a lot of issues. For example, religion. With the idea of people not dying,
Hmm.
the whole society has to change, but you still have this old view that remains somehow.
Exactly. I mean, this will happen after 20 or 30 years. And I mean, what we have, like religion, we had it for 1,000 years, 2,000 years. And the technological advancement happens so fast, but cultural changes takes lots of time. So, so technology affects culture and affects people, but they don't change as fast as technology. So I wanted to examine that in the book.
Cool, cool, cool. And the more you advance in writing, the more it becomes science fiction as well.
It is becoming more complicated. I mean, in the sequel and the third book, because I'm exploring different themes. So in well, I don't want to bend the story for anyone, but towards the end of the first book, Heaven, Jannah, she she makes a decision that affects the lives of her children 30 years after, and this decision is to support banning old age altogether, so people will not have it as an option. It's not. It's no longer as a choice for them, and this will pose so many questions at the time, like religious people in particular will ask, so now that we don't die and we live for thousands of years, so when people will be punished and rewarded for their deeds.
Yeah.
And so a religious fanatic group comes up with this concept of using AI and create two hologramic angels that can read your behavior and write down your deeds and sins, and then they can reward you or punish you accordingly.
Yes, yes, yes. It's uh, it's a very interesting topic, especially because, well, it it eliminates something that we are so used to dying from the equation of life.
Hmm.
And it tackles human rights as well. I mean, when when we
Of
think
course, I
about
mean, now with the technological changes, there will be so much power in the hands of traditional powers. For instance, like the government, religious groups, or whoever who has power, he will have more powers to control people.
yes,
And we need to be more aware of that and try to come up with solutions for these problems before they come.
yes, yes. And yes,
You
sir.
know this.
Yes,
If I can add some notes,
Yeah, yeah,
this great effect of technology on us, on our society, and our life in general, is one of the most benefits of science fiction is to prepare our minds to receive
mhm,
this advancement in the future. And this is something we need to show more and more for the Arabic community, that science fiction is a good thing.
of course.
It's preparing our culture, preparing our minds to receive the new advancements, and not to receive it negatively,
Mhm,
and so on.
yes.
yes. Someone wrote something really interesting. IA and religion. It's very interesting to think about the two together. I mean, it's something that in the West we don't usually put them together, but I mean, I think in the Arabic word, it's a different matter as well.
Mhm,
What do you
mhm.
guys think?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, religion is probably still very much relevant and important to Arab societies, whereas in the West, it's not the same.
Yes,
But this-
cool. And Yasser, what brought you to science fiction? I mean,
Uh, yes.
I mean,
Okay, it's weird to say that it's all started by chance.
okay.
Happy chance indeed. When I was 14 years old, my school organized a trip to the Cairo Book Fair. By the
Mhm.
way, the Cairo Book Fair is the biggest and oldest book fair in the Middle East. Uh, I went with no idea what to buy. While I wondering, I found some sort of offer to buy 20 books for 5 Egyptian pounds, which were equal to $1 these times.
Mhm.
And because I hadn't any plans for reading, I had chosen the most attractive titles at all. The First Man in the Moon, 20 Leagues Under the Sea, and so on. So my first science fiction novel was The First Man in the Moon by H.G. Wells. And from that time, I was fascinated by H.G. Wells, who opened the door of science fiction for me. And after 5 years from that event, I remember I wrote my first science fiction story, and fortunately, I won a prize of Nihad Sharif for Arabic science fiction, the 50th place or 40th place. I didn't remember exactly. And the journey continued with science fiction from this point.
Amazing.
Cool. And how did you get to get published in the Arab world? How is it? That's my next question. Can you describe briefly the science fiction and fantasy scene in the Arab world? Is there a difference between the different countries? So, just to for our viewers, if they do not know the Arab word, it's a huge, huge word. It goes is from Morocco to Yemen to Dubai, and with the different societies. So, one might think there's a difference between the kind of science fiction we do, for example, in Jordan or in Egypt, and what are the main actors of this industry, or the main, I don't know, if there is a country that produces more.
You want to
For
start,
me,
Yasser? You start. Go ahead.
okay, you asked many questions. Of
So
course,
it's to have a conversation, so
Yeah.
it's many questions just
yes,
to.
yes, yes. If we can, or if we may, talk about the science fiction and fantasy scene in the Arab world. I can see that the presence of science fiction genre wasn't so significant before 10 or 15 years. And even the culture of reading science fiction itself wasn't widely spread or widely known. And this may be attributed to many reasons we may discuss later. Now, thanks to the availability of the scientific information and the advancements of science, along with opening up to the culture of reading science fiction itself, we may say there is some significance raise in number of science fiction books relative to other genres. I even recently read Arabic hard science fiction works, and these were so rare in the past. In the past, so we may say that the reception of science fiction of public is being gradually changing towards accepting it as a real type of literature. Of course, I'm not saying it's comparable with the situation in USA, for example, or Europe, but I am saying there is some acceptance for the genre recently. For fancy, if we are talking about fancy, I think the situation is better. Why it's better? Because we have a deep, long history in fantasy with Arabic classics, old classics such as Arabian Nights, for example. So the perception is better than science fiction. Perception of fantasy is better than science fiction. For example, the Nobel Prize winner Najib Mahfouz wrote some fancy short stories and novels, and you can see now the fancy works in the best selling lists
Yes.
in our countries.
Yes. Yes. And do you think there is a difference between the different countries as well? I know we discussed this before. Like in Egypt, you have a lot of dystopia, but Fadi as well told me in other countries you have that as well.
Mhm.
Do you think that the different kind of science fiction are mostly represented in a particular country or in another country or not? Or do you think it's usually a more unite word?
Yes. If we are talking about the Arabic world, we can find that culture, religion, traditions, language are shared between the whole area uh, to a great extent, of course. So when you read a science fiction from Egypt, for example, and Syria, I cannot find the great differences between them. But there is minor difference I can notice from one time to other between not country and country, but we can divide the Arab world to the Asian part and the African part.
Mhm.
Don't do that.
Again,
Don't divide us.
no. Yes. I'm dividing us as a way of writing.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. While the Asian part tend more to space exploration topics, the African part tends more to dystopian science fiction. You know, this may be also attributed to many reasons we can discuss, but this difference is not huge or not big. Um not all Asian science fiction is about space exploration, and not all African science fiction is about dystopia. But there is some tendency towards this type. But at all, over the whole Arab world, the dystopia dominates.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
The most famous one is, I mean, a science fiction work that has been translated in so many languages is a dystopia, Utopia from.
It's called Utopia, but it is a dystopia, actually.
Yes,
Yes,
Ahmed Khalid Tawfiq. Yes.
yes, an amazing book.
Yeah.
What do you think, Fadi, about this topic?
Yes, I want to say, to add to what Yasser said, that even for me, like 30 years ago, when I was 16 years old, 15, when I was a teenager, I used to read the Future File, a collection of pocket books by Nabil Farouk, Egyptian author, who used to write these amazing, amazing, amazing science fiction books. I just checked before this session online, and he wrote 160 book.
Okay.
Imagine. Yes, I remember also I used to go to the book fair here in Amman with my dad and just buying all of these amazing small books about science fiction. So that's where I started to love science fiction and imagining the future, and imagining space travel and fights with aliens and all kinds of things. And I also wanted to add, like, yes, sir, you're right. I mean, most of the Arabic famous science fiction books are dystopia. Like we talked about Utopia. There is the second, The War of the Dog, that won the Arabic Booker Prize. Frankenstein in Baghdad, also it's almost fantasy science fiction. It's also a dystopia. I, I read that there are a collection of short stories, anthologies about Iraq, 100 plus in the future, Palestine 100 plus in the future, Egypt 100 plus in the future. So usually when we imagine the future, we always tend to imagine a dystopian world. I don't know why is that. There's also one book I really want to read it, for Ibtisam Azim. It's called The Book of Disappearance. She's imagining a future where the Palestinians disappear. It would be interesting to read. And there is one called The Queue for Basma Abdelaziz that is set in Egypt as well. So most of them are dystopia. I also wanted to add that I recently, through Arabilioso, the Arabic collection that the future fiction released in Italian and in English, I get to know some other Arabic science fiction author, and I really admire Nadia Afifi. So one of the most interesting stories that I read in that book called Bahrain Underground Bazaar, and she writes in line with my thoughts and my interest in science fiction. So the story goes about a dying woman that can go to a shop, and she can borrow experience other people experiences, and she can put them and sleep and just live those experiences. So I really like this story.
Cool.
Yeah.
We have a questions that goes in your direction. Does hope punk, solar punk, exist in Arabic SF?
Mhm.
Or of dystopia, it's mostly a negative view of the
Yeah.
society. And does it exist something more positive?
Mm. Uh, I don't know. Actually, when I started writing Heaven on Earth, I wanted to imagine heaven. I wanted to imagine a utopia. But I ended up, well, it wasn't totally a dystopia, neither a utopia. Some people find in it a dystopia, but for me, it's not a dystopia. When you live in a world where you can live forever and there is no death, no diseases, so I think it's balanced in a way. I don't know about if there is any other Arabic science fiction books that does the same. I'm not aware. I don't know.
We have a question that it's interesting. I mean, it makes me wonder one other question. There's someone interested about having the precise references of the SF Arabic books. And she's, I think it's a woman. I don't want to misgender anyone. The person asks if, especially those written by women, I know that in the, I mean, for what I've seen, a lot of writers are usually identifies as male in science fiction writers in the Arabic word, right?
Yeah, but I mentioned some names. So Nadia Afifi, she's an amazing science fiction writer. There's
Yes.
Ibtisam as El-Azam. Also, this is one name to read her book.
There is also the writer of Ajwan, but
Yeah.
I can't
Of course.
remember the.
I don't want to spoil anything, but Ajwan, it's just follow Hikaya for Ajwan.
You're going to publish the book in French?
I
Ajwan?
cannot say it yet, but yes. I
But
mean,
we follow you, and then
we would
get
like.
to know later.
Yes, so just follow for more infos. Yes, so it's Noura Al-Noman. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist in any language besides Arabic, but she's an amazing writer.
Mhm.
She's really an amazing writer. But you can watch if you want. That will be one of our questions. You can watch the TV show because there's a TV show about Ajwan.
Yeah, it's anime, right? It's
Yeah, it's
animation.
an anime. Yeah, so an
Okay.
Arabic anime.
Wow. Is it out on Netflix? Do you know where we can find it?
No, I think it's on NBC, the
Okay.
Arabic, but you can find it online, I
Okay.
think.
Maybe
By
Shahid.
the way, for all the viewers, we will try to either you can ask us by message, or we will try to give you the references on a post. I will ask Yasser and Fadi to. I will ask Fadi to send me a list of Arabic writers, so our viewers can go and look for them. And it's Ajwan.
Mhm.
It's Ajwan. I will write it down once the conference is done.
Okay.
Cool. What are the main actors of the industry of science fiction in the Arabic world? Is it is there a country or an organization or something that is more prominent in the Arabic world, or a publishing house, um, or an institution?
Mhm.
Can you think of any?
Well, I can think of يتخيلون in Saudi Arabia. It's a big publishing house, but I think also they focus more on fantasy than science fiction. I'm not sure.
There is also in Egypt Verne Publishing House.
Which
Verne.
one?
Verne. Jules Verne.
Verne. Okay.
After
Are they
Jules Verne.
specialized in science fiction? Yes.
Yes, it's specialized in science fiction only.
Arabic science fiction.
Arabic, no, translation. You know, translation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I always had
Non-Arabic.
this idea to start my own publishing house specialized in Arabic science fiction, but I still don't have the courage to do it like David did. But maybe one day, because I want to encourage like coming up with Arabic science fiction stories and also translating science fiction from the word to the Arabic language as well. It's very important because now most of the, like we said some names, but most of the popular novels, most of the writers write historical novels.
Yes.
And we need to stop living in the history. We need to start imagining the future.
That's very
But,
well said.
but we need to focus on the good part of the future, not dystopia.
Yes. Yeah.
So
We need to find stories like yours and mine.
you
Yeah.
talked about translation, Fadi. That's something that we like to discuss at Hikaya. Most of translations I've seen into Arabic are from English and not from other languages. So your idea of publishing house was also to open to other languages, right?
Of course, 100%. Yes. Yeah. So maybe we can cooperate at the time when it happens. We get
Of course,
stories
we're
from you, from future fiction, from Italy, from different
yes.
sources.
Well,
Yeah.
we do not publish at Hikaya. We only publish from, other languages. But of course, the whole point of our association, our organization, is to share. Writers to make
You're not.
to known
You're,
in France and
yeah.
to
You're
export.
not planning to publish any French science fiction?
Not yet. We
Not.
want to. We have a huge scene of science fiction and fantasy in France.
Okay.
So I think there are people that are doing a better job than we would. So
Okay.
we prefer to focus on translation from non-Anglo-Saxons writers.
Amazing. I love your mission. Thank you.
And you think, I mean, Yasser answered, but do you think that there is a difference because you live between Jordan and Dubai? Do you think there is a difference in reception on reading between the two countries about science fiction? I mean, Dubai is, I mean, Dubai is a science fiction city.
Yeah, it's true. It's a futuristic city. Yes, it is. But actually, I don't feel there is a difference. But I would say, like in Jordan or in Dubai, or probably most of the Arab countries, they read science fiction, English science fiction, mostly American science fiction. So I don't think they have much faith in Arabic science fiction. So if they want to read science fiction, they would go and bring an English book to
And
read.
do you think that's my next question that the Arabic science fiction and fantasy world has its own flavor? How and if it does, how how is it? What's its taste?
Yes, I think yes. It has the flavor first because well, it reflects the Arabic culture and Islam as a religion. So you will find that, and also as Yasser wrote, it's post-colonial. So in his book, he gives representation to other people going to the moon, from not only white people going to the moon. So you will find that in Arabic science fiction.
Yes, yes.
Yep, this perspective to tell the story from other perspective
Mm,
is so important,
of
so
course.
important when you read about some universal events, universal scientific progress from other perspective. It's so important from my point of view.
Mhm. True.
Yes, I can give an example. We were talking about Ajwan. Ajwan tackles the issue of refugees in the space. Most of the time, when we read science fiction written by a white male from America, when your planet explodes and you're on another planet, people welcome you so deeply and everything, and as an Arabic woman writer, she imagined another path. I mean, the path that she sees on television, a different way of. She's not welcome because, I mean, because she comes from a culture when people emigrate, they're less welcomed by than white Americans. So it gives
Mm,
another perspective of the same issue.
interesting.
Yes,
Very
yes,
interesting
exactly.
point.
Um, we have a question. Do you take inspiration from Arabic folklore for your sci-fi works?
Well, yeah, I would say, like, for instance, not folklore, but for instance, when I wrote Jaha in the metaverse, so it's a very common traditional practice here in Jordan when a person wants to get married, so he brings his family, his tribe to go to the woman's house, and the men of the family ask the her father for her hand. So it's a very traditional thing, and I imagined it happening in the metaverse, like in the virtual world. So that was the core of the story of Jaha in the metaverse. So I think, yeah, it's nice to try to preserve some cultural things in and imagine how they would evolve or change with technology and in the future.
And Yasser?
Um, for me, I can say that not folklore itself, but some items from religion, and I'm writing now some story about the relation between the advancement of robots and AI and its relation to religion, because to at some point the robot wants to be free. This freedom will get him to some responsibilities this I can't say more about the story, but I can say that religion is intersected with the science fiction. Future advancements of AI will, of course, make us, I can't find the word, not conflict, but uh, I'm trying to get the word, getting in touch with
Yes,
deep religious concepts and so on.
yes. So it's part of the culture that you put. It's not a part of the folklore, but for part of the
Yes,
culture. The thing that you have in your daily life, which are important to the Egyptian culture or the Arab culture, into science fiction. And which part do you think of your work is universal as well? I mean, because it's always as a translator, we always wonder which part is a universal thing and which part is cultural, which part we have to adapt and which part we have to maintain. And it's a translation question, but it's also a writer's question,
Mhm.
right?
That's true. But I mean, when we write stories, we usually write human stories.
Yes,
And I mean, for me, when I started to imagine heaven on earth, it's the solution, the golden pill, the nanobots will bring youth back to all humanity, not just for Arabs. So it's a human issue. So it's a universal issue, and the effect of this when it happens, it will affect everyone. Although maybe the reception or some other nuances will be different from culture to another.
yes. And Yasser, what do you think you use as universal?
of course, science is something is universal. Concepts of science are shared between all nations,
Mhm.
but when the thing comes to politics, for example, it will be each nation will search for its responsibility or and benefits from space. For example, as I mentioned, or as I talked in the Black Moon. So science is universal, but items of politics and laws is of each nation itself.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And each nation has what I like about your book. What I like it why translating is having a different point of view as well. I mean, as we said, we are seeing it from a complete different point of view and a political point of view as well.
Yeah.
You
I
both
want to,
you both tackles politics, by the way,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
different way. We both tackles politics.
true. I wanted to add something that happened to me. The book Ibra Kushtuban.
Yes. Can you
So
describe a little bit the book for the readers?
yeah, so it's about uh, it's it's science fiction, but it's alternative reality where history developed, or alternative history where humanity developed in a different way, where gender is not the main division of people; it's height that is the main division of people, and all like gender roles are divided per height, not per sex. So they have tall and short people, and middle height people disappear. So, so this book actually, now I'm talking with an American publisher, and they asked for peer reviewers, and one of the feedback was that because it's not set in a certain Arabic city like Amman, so that makes the story weaker. But I mean, I don't see it that way because when you read it, you will feel all the Arabic culture differences in the book, but the topic and the story is universal, and that's why it can't be in a specific Arabic city. It's a imagined reality, imagined city, imagined a parallel world to our world.
Yes, yes. And I have one question, because you told about a peer reviewer. Uh, do you have do you think that there is an Arabic style? We talk about the flavor, but do you think there is a style that is different when you write? You do not write in the same way as Americans or British writers. Do you think that the Arab culture, the Arab literature, influenced your way of writing? Or do you inspire you get inspired by American writers as well, the
Well,
American way of conceiving stories, because
well,
it's not the same way of conceiving stories. I mean,
mm, well,
I,
I would say that, I mean, we can't say that we're not influenced. Of course, we are influenced, especially by the American culture, with the American books and Hollywood and the American movies. But one thing I remember when I first published The Bride of Amman, and one of the comments I got that he thinks in English, but I don't know how accurate is that. Like the way I write, they felt that it is translated from the English, but like some people felt that way, but not everyone. So I'm not sure how much it affects my writing, like being that I speak English actually and I speak Arabic. I don't know how that affects my writing.
You know, uh, when I'm writing in Arabic and trying to translate what
oh,
Oh no,
I'm
Yasser, come back.
oh yeah,
Okay, you're here.
he
No,
disappeared.
Yasser.
So
He's
yes,
connected.
he's connecting again. Sorry,
Okay.
yes, you're online. Sorry.
Okay,
sorry,
you're
my
here.
connection here is terrible.
Okay,
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
when I'm writing in Arabic and trying to translate what I'm writing into English, I find you will not find the difference except you are writing in one language. You know, if you are trying to translate what you write into another language, you will notice the difference. I, for example, use some words from religion, inshallah,
Mhm.
Yes.
مثلا. This way of writing in the language itself. English is some language that can be, fast.
Mm.
Uh, do you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yes, we do. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, for my terrible connection. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
So English is some language is fast language. Arabic language is some kind of language is calm and hello.
Yes, yes,
Hello? We can hear you.
we can
Continue.
hear you. We
Okay,
hear you.
okay. So this is this difference between the two language, of course, made a difference in the style of writing, I
Mhm.
think.
Okay.
Yes.
And
For our viewers,
David, one question I want to ask you, because my writing, when I write, usually I do the dialogue in the dialect, the Jordanian
that was
dialect.
my question. So for our viewers that do not know Arabic, Arabic has a standard language, but each country or even each region has its own dialect. So
Mm.
Egypt and Jordan do not speak the same, but writes the same, and the dialects are like different languages. If you go to Morocco and try to speak with a Jordanian accent, they might understand you, but you would not understand them because the difference of dialects it's so big. And a lot of writers use the dialect in dialogues, and some others write in the standard language.
Mhm.
Sorry, I had to
Yes. Good.
contextualize everything for our viewers. So, Yasser, do you use the dialect or Al Fusha, the standard? for the dialogues?
الفصحى. Most of my writing using الفصحى. It's more public. Jordanian can understand it from Morocco, from UAE, from Saudi Arabia.
But you know what?
Everyone in the whole world.
Well, but actually, everyone understands the Egyptian dialect as well, because we grew up watching
The
Egyptian
thing.
series.
Yes. I know this, but recently the situation is not like this totally. We were more published language Egyptian, of course,
Mm.
or Egyptian accent, because our movies and our TV series was widely published in
Yeah,
the Arab
yeah.
world in the past decades. But now we can see works from other countries. Now, for example, children in Egypt can speak Syrian, for example,
Mm.
and this thing wasn't widely spread in Egypt in the
Okay.
past decades
Yes,
because of the movies works.
yes. For our viewers, in the last decades, there has been a huge industry of Turkish, especially series,
Mm.
dubbed in with the Syrian accent that made the Syrian accent, Syrian and Lebanese mixed together, more popular in the Arabic world. So,
But still, the Egyptian is the king.
yeah, it remains the king.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes, it
the
remains the
most
king.
popular accent. I love the Egyptian accent. Yeah.
So, what's the reception of science fiction in the Arabic world and the reception of your own books? I can think of you, Fadi, because you told me last time that you're often invited to universities, but not for your science fiction books.
Yeah,
Mostly.
usually. Yeah, the Bride of Amman, probably because the topic is more sensitive about sexual freedoms and body rights. So, but I did so many talks about heaven on earth and hope on earth in Jordan. So last year when I did the book launch, and then I was invited to a book club where we had probably around 30 or maybe more Jordanian women who are like senior women, and they all read the book and they were very excited about it and discussing the ideas. And I was really happy to see that, to see the interest in science fiction, because I think when Heaven on Earth first came out in 2014, uh, people didn't believe in the promise of science to defeat aging. So it was a new idea to them. But now, after 10 years, I think they started to read so many articles. You can read lots of articles on the news. Like every once in a while, you will find a news about this happening. So
Yes,
people started to believe in this and wanted to read about it and see what I wrote about it.
cool. And in Egypt, how's your work received, Yasser? And hard science fiction in general.
Uh, I can see that my works, some of them hard science fiction and some of them not hard science fiction. The works are not hard science fiction is widely received more than the hard science fiction. But this is the whole scene, not my works only. The whole scene is that accepting the soft science fiction more than the hard science fiction. But I can say the recent movement in publishing.
We lost you again. We're sorry for the inconvenience, the connection in Egypt.
Of this reflects recent change in reception. When the Black Moon released 2021 and now 2024, I can see a difference in dealing with the Black Moon.
Yes.
I have many messages lately about the novel because the culture itself beginning to change towards the hard science fiction, and this is something I want to make repeatedly: hard science fiction, hard science fiction, hard science fiction, because I love this type of science fiction, and I love it to be more widely read by the Arabic people, because you know uh, away from the story itself, the science itself is so important, and we
Mm.
can't find a way to publish science and scientific concepts more than implementing these concepts in a story.
Mhm.
Uh, you know. This interest in science of me made me trying to get it published, to get the concept of hard science fiction published and published and published.
Amazing.
Cool. 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 We have one question. Is climate change a subject present in Arabic science fiction?
Uh, well, I read a few short stories in Arabidioso
Yes.
about climate change. So, yes, one set in Lebanon, one set
Yes, I
in
I
Iraq.
I I remember that I wrote I think the second or third short story of me was about.
Climate
Hello.
change. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we hear you. We've lost him?
No, he's here. Yasser?
Hello, do you hear me
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
again? Sorry. Sorry
No
about the
problem.
climate change. uh, I was saying that my first or no, my second or third short story in science fiction was about the climate change, and I read recently some kind of stories about climate changes. So yes, I think it's some subjects of some interest in Arabic science fiction.
Yes. Yes. So, I have one question that is a very Hikaya question.
Uh-huh.
Ajwan, Haujan, Paranormal. We have several science fiction or fantasy works that were made into series, movies, but we still have difficulties to find the science fiction and fantasy books from the Arab world abroad.
Mm.
Even if we have a series, movies, so to for our public Ajwan, we talked about Ajwan, so it's a science fiction work from Nura Al Numan. Haujan, it's a fantasy work. It's a kind of a Twilight story
Mhm.
between a jinn and a human woman. And Paranormal, it's a soft science fiction or fantasy series that you can get on Netflix.
Mhm.
But besides from that, even Haujan and Ajwan, we cannot find them in Europe, for example. Why do you think? What do you think are the reasons? I will.
I don't know. Probably because Arabic science fiction is not that popular yet. So probably they are popular in the Arab world, but probably it still didn't reach to the European audience.
Yeah.
I think some reason, maybe that these works presented as science fiction, and they are not science fiction at all, except
Mm.
Ajwan. I I
Mm.
uh,
Ajwan is.
I can say Ajwan is considered as science fiction, but
Mm.
Haujan, for example, paranormal, paranormal is not science fiction, but they are introduced as a science fiction, Arabic science fiction. So we can't find the items of science fiction in them. So maybe this makes some confusion for the European audience. What is the Arabic science fiction exactly?
Mm.
Is it about jinn, or paranormal items, or what, you know. We can't introduce the science fiction as as science fiction, you know. We may
Yeah.
implement items from science fiction into this series.
Mm.
So if we need to leave some mark in science fiction specifically, we have to make more science fiction works in more science fiction way,
Mhm.
if I can say so.
Mhm. But actually, Paranormal was on Netflix, and I think it was I don't know how much it was successful abroad. I think globally it
It was.
was
It was.
successful, yeah, to a certain extent. So I think it reached European audience
Yes,
probably.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a huge question we ask ourselves at Hikaya. It's why, why is it so difficult to translate from other cultures than the Anglo-Saxon culture works of science fiction and fantasy?
Mm. Are you
Uh,
finding difficulty are you finding difficulty to find stories from the Arabic world?
no, it's not that. It's that we have few
Yeah.
writers that are translated into French, for example, or Italian.
Uh-huh.
There are few publishers that do that, and
Mhm.
that's why we launched Hikaya at the beginning.
Good,
And
amazing.
in Italy, you have future
That's why
fiction.
you are
And,
here.
yes, yes, exactly. So yes, that's. I wanted to see your opinion on the subject, because you also have the other way around. You have few science fiction books from French into the Arabic
Mhm.
world, apart from Jules Verne, I think.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you ask me now, I can't think of any French science fiction book that I have read or heard about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a global problem more than I.
Yes. Yeah. True. True.
So let's get back to something more personal to you. What are your personal motives to write, and what animates you when you write?
Do you want to answer that
Yes,
first?
you can answer, Fed. You can answer.
No, go ahead. Start.
Okay, okay. One of the most motivations in the first place for me is my love of science. You know, I think the best way to tell science is to implement it in a story. And I'm not talking about the scientific concepts as published in scientific papers, but I mean sharing the love of science itself by implementing some scientific ways of solving problems, for example, that faced the protagonist. Also, when I read about any new scientific advancement, that love of science drives me to get ideas. You know, many ideas of new stories starts to get its way in my mind, and a map of events created gradually. So I start to write short story or a novel based on that idea, or at least document this idea, and with some details to be a project of a story or a novel in the future. And this love of science, as we talked, reflected on my writings, as I'm trying as much as I can to write hard science fiction. So the first motivation is that I love science so much.
Cool.
Wow, amazing. I like science, but not love it so much like you. I love science, but yeah, for me, I think the motivation is to explore new ideas and to explore how things can be different. How can they be different in a bad way or in a good way? And how technology can shape our life, and how, like, imagining what it would be like to live these lives, these situations, apply certain technology to our life, how it will affect us, how what changes will happen, how we will react to it. So this is all new and exciting to imagine and to think about and to write about.
Cool. 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 Do you have questions from the public? I remind the public they can ask questions. So far, we had a few of them. Because I will ask my final questions and then we will be closing this conversation. But if someone wants to ask any other question, they're more than welcome. So my final question would be, if you want to pass a message to the non-Arab speaking readers, what would it be?
To give the Arabic science fiction a chance. I think when you read about the universal events discussed in science fiction, but from other perspective, I think it would be something thought-provoking, you know. And we all know that the readers of science fiction are the most readers searching for mind-challenging type of reading. So I can say that the Arabic science fiction will provide them with this challenge or this different view of the events. So read Arabic science fiction.
For me, I would say I would thank Hikaya and also future fiction for their interest for championing Arabic science fiction and for your interest in bringing us into the conversation about the future. So your mission is very honorable and very important so that we have different visions of the future that's not only dominated by the American vision of the future. So
Thank you very much. That's very touching to hear from you. So, do we have questions from the public? I can't see any, but if someone wants to ask, yes, we do one. We do have one. No, we don't have questions. So, to remind, for the readers. So we have one question. When does Yasser book will be available in French? That's me to answer. It will be at the end of this year because I'm still translating it. So I want to have the best version of it. So I will take my time. we already have the cover, but it will be as soon as
we want to see the covers. Actually, I want to say that your covers are amazing. The designer you're working with is so good, and I'm sure that Yasser's book cover would be excellent.
Yes, we're trying to grow on level. So for our viewers, so Fadi's books, it's available in Arabic. So you can you have 5 books in Arabic, one in 2 in Italian, The Bride of a Man and Heaven, 3 in English, right?
3 in English, correct?
3 in English. And 2 in French,
yes,
right?
Correct.
So you will find all the infos in our next post. I will try to do a post this week with all the infos. If you read Arabic, French, Italian, I will try to, and English and French, and I don't remember which one language I. And Yasser's books will be available in French at the end of the year. You have 5 books in Arabic, several short stories in English, right?
And English and
in Turkish. Okay, you will give me all the details, and I will write a post about it. So for our viewers, the next live talk will be on Thursday. So it's a special one about visual art, post-colonialism. So it will be more visual than literary, but it's something we wanted to present in our live talks. And we will host 2 beautiful people that will talk about this topic. Thank you, everybody, for having been with us today. I thank you personally, Fadi and Yasser,
Thank you, David.
being with us
Thank
tonight.
you, Andrew.
And I hope to meet you in real life soon. And I
Yeah.
hope we will be able to invite you
Hope-
both in France if we are invited at a festival.
Yeah. Hopefully next
hope
year.
to.
Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. So
Thank
I will disconnect up this stream. See you on Thursday.